My husband cheated on me with someone on Reddit. I've been with my husband for 6 years now, and we have 2 beautiful children together. He said he replied to a Reddit post to give advice to someone, but that person then started to message him privately on here. They have been talking on and off, so he says, for a year. He went to meet this person for the first time in a hotel. They first had dinner, and then my husband said he realized what he was doing was wrong, and it didn't go any further. I found the hotel card in his wallet. He said he has no feelings for her, and that she was just like a friend. I believed him because the husband I know is honest, respectful, kind, and understanding. I asked him why he agreed to meet with this person, and also why he decided to do it at a hotel. He stated because the other person was very adamant and would not leave him alone. Also, because apparently, according to her Reddit post, she was thinking of hurting herself. He's never done anything wrong to me. This is the first time. Our marriage was great, but then we had kids and everything was about them. We hardly got the chance to spend time with each other. I know I can trust him again, and maybe this will bring us closer, but I don't know if I'm truly going to be happy because it hurts a lot. This is super suspicious because I honestly don't believe the husband in this story in the slightest. There's a lot of red flags here, but the first most obvious one is that this guy met up with someone on Reddit at a hotel. Hotels are meant for sleeping and possible other activities. I don't believe him for a second when he says nothing else happened. She states that she loves her husband and that he's not going to be disrespectful or dishonest or anything like that, but that's exactly what he just did. This is super dishonest and this is not a good look. And if I were her, I would definitely be reevaluating my marriage with this person. Am I the jerk for not allowing my boyfriend's sister to bring their service dog to our birthday party? I'm sure I will get some hate for this, but hear me out. My boyfriend's sister has a quote service dog she takes everywhere with her. I put it in quotes because she always dances around with her service dog, but never explains what it does. And my boyfriend won't answer what its purpose is either. I have 2 boys, 5 and 7, who love dogs. Every time she is around with her dog, she scolds them for wanting to play with and or pet the dog. I teach them not to mess with other dogs in public, but in a home setting, it gets a little bit into the gray area. The dog is in the house, he is just hanging around. It's not like he's pulling her wheelchair around. I told her not to scold my children, and she told me the dog is a breed that won't tolerate my kids climbing on it. So I guess apparently this service dog is dangerous, and that they shouldn't be messing with him. So my boyfriend's birthday is coming up, and I am hosting a party at my house for him. I told him that his sister could not bring her dog to my house if she wanted to come. He literally told me to cancel the party, and that we will have to get together somewhere else so her dog could come with her. I don't want the stress of her getting upset with my kids for being kids. I don't want to have to worry that the dog may bite them, and I just don't really want a dog in my house. I do not believe the dog is a legitimate service dog, as I don't know of any disability that she has. Wow, the lady in this story is like a big Karen. I mean, how dare you assume that someone is faking an illness or a disability of some kind just to have a service dog with them? Did you know that some disabilities are invisible? That some disabilities that require a service dog are completely obvious to the surrounding public? That dog could be preventing them from having a seizure on the ground. That dog could warn them of when their blood sugar is too high or too low. When that dog is around in its vest, it is literally working. It is doing its job, and no, it shouldn't have kids climbing all over it. It is absolutely disgusting and discriminatory that this woman would question what this service dog is or isn't. It does not take much to be the parent in this situation and respect the wishes of those around them. And if a lady says, hey, don't touch my service dog, then you get your kids off of the service dog. And no, the dog probably isn't dangerous. She is absolutely a bad person for acting this way, and she should 100% be ashamed of herself. I accidentally traumatized my son with science. So my son loves for me to read to him. He's 4 years old, and we read 3 or so books every night before bed. I love that he reads and try to steer him towards educational books, or at least stories with a meaning. So when some guy came around selling books door to door, I had to check them out. There was a whole set for kids around his age that are just full of facts about different topics, from science to history, anatomy to space. These books cover a ton of subjects. So tonight, we were reading one, and it asked, do stars live forever? Obviously, the answer was no, and it said that eventually our sun would shrink down to become a white dwarf, then go out forever. I, being the scientifically literate man that I am, pointed out to him that it's more likely that our sun will grow into a red giant and consume the earth. So my son asked, does that mean it'll catch the earth on fire? Seeing that I messed up, I tried to explain it away that it would be long after we were gone, and that humans will have moved into space to live elsewhere. Unfortunately, my son doesn't have a great understanding of things like billions of years or even 5 minutes for that matter. Also, my son tends to get fixated on things and ignore petty things like details. So for the next half hour, he kept peppering me with questions like, if we move to space, can I take all my toys with us? And after the earth stops burning, can we come back? And if we come back, can everyone work together to clean up? I don't like lying to him, but I'm also not looking forward to telling him that, hey, I was wrong, it's not going to turn into a red giant, but I think it's a little too late. I feel like I unintentionally traumatized my 4-year-old and plunged him into an existential crisis. I might have to do some fixing tomorrow if he's still stuck on this. Sometimes science is scary. This man made the mistake of explaining something to a 4-year-old who now knows how to ask why. I have friends who have kids this age, and they told me the second they started asking the question why was the second that it all was just over. Nothing was out of bounds, and the kid was going to ask questions about everything. And this is a prime example of that. So yeah, teach your kids stuff, but just be careful you teach them. I cheated on my wife with a fictional character. Let me explain. A couple days ago, my wife had a dream where I cheated on her and later left to live with the other woman in her dream. She told me about her dream in the morning, clearly distressed. Trying to diffuse the situation, I decided to create a funny origin story of the girl I was seeing in her dream. I named her Brimhilda, as this name doesn't exist where I live or anywhere that I know, and I thought it would add some volume and a certain mystery to her character. I was honestly just trying to poke fun. The next day, I posted a funny comment on a Facebook page and received a ha-ha reaction from a user named Brimhilda. I thought it was hilarious, and I showed it to my wife. She did not think it was hilarious. As a result, I ended up having to sleep on the sofa the next night. So I learned a lesson the hard way. Don't try to turn lemons into lemonade, or Murphy's Law will kick in, and it's going to take you out. It sounds like the woman in this story is just a little stressed out because she's worried that her husband's gonna cheat on her based off of a dream, but that's not at all how this works. I think it's a clear rule of thumb that if it happens in a dream, it didn't happen for real, and you shouldn't hold it over your partner just based off some nightmare that you had last night. If I was the guy in this situation, I 100% would have made this joke as well. But in all honesty, this is just a fun little story that details how silly some relationships can truly be. Should I tell my boyfriend I cheated this weekend? I cheated on my long-distance boyfriend this weekend. We've been dating for a year and a half, but I haven't seen him since June as we both had to move back to our home countries when school ended. This weekend, I went on a trip with my best friend, and one night, I had a few too many and went home with a guy I met at the bar. It was an impulsive decision, and I regretted it immediately. I have issues with impulsivity and emotional regulation, and after he was being very clingy and controlling this weekend, demanding that I tell him everything I'm doing, showing him what I'm wearing, who I'm with, etc., I kind of got in a headspace where I didn't care about anything but what would make me feel good in the moment. No consequences or anything considered. My mental health issues are obviously not an excuse. I'm not trying to justify what I did because there's no justification. The guy I met meant nothing to me. I wasn't really attracted to him. I had no interest in ever seeing him again. I didn't even learn his name. All I wanted was to feel wanted, to see that someone who didn't know me was attracted to me. So I spent the night with him and left right after. My question is, should I tell my boyfriend this? I know I would want to know, but at the same time, I'm afraid telling him causes him more pain. This could just be more unnecessary pain for him to endure, as the chances of him ever finding out are minimal. But then I think, what if I'm convincing myself to not tell him for my own selfish reasons, like I don't want to own up to what I did? Obviously, he deserves to have all the information so that he can decide if he wants this relationship and to still be with me. But he doesn't deserve to suffer for my horrible actions. I'm very torn on what to do. If I could take it back, I would, but I can't, and now I have to figure out what the best thing to do is. I can't just break up with him for no reason. He will blame himself, and that isn't fair. We've had a lot of issues these last few months, and I felt very alone and without any emotional support. But if I were to break up now, he would most likely solely blame himself, when a part of the reason I would be doing it is because of my own guilt and horrible actions. But if I don't say anything, and we don't break up, I would be lying to him, which also would not be fair. Obviously, there's no good way to keep this relationship going. I either would hurt him with the truth or lie to him. But which is best? There's a lot of trust that goes into a long-distance relationship. Both parties are depending on the other person to be honest and faithful, and the lady in this story was definitely not faithful. It's as if she took her entire relationship and just put it on the shelf and said, I'll look at you later. Not telling her boyfriend about this now is only going to ruin future plans for them. It's better to get it out of the way now and tell him exactly what happened instead of 5 years down the road where you're married with a kid. The lady in the story is completely in the wrong, and the boyfriend has every right to know. Anything but telling him the truth is selfish. I don't understand why she's so torn. I mean, she lives a country away from this guy, and she's cheating on him, and she's having trouble figuring out if she should tell her boyfriend. In my opinion, this relationship is not going to last, because clearly the woman in this situation is not faithful, and if I were the guy, I would immediately kick her to the curb after this. My girlfriend left me the same day I bought an engagement ring. I've always been afraid of commitment, mainly because of my parents' terrible divorce and some other bad experiences. My girlfriend gave me an ultimatum 18 months ago that she wanted to take our relationship to the next level and get engaged. I wasn't feeling ready, so I postponed it as far as I could. 3 months ago, she packed up and moved to a different state. I sunk into more despair until one day I finally decided to get over my fears and purchase a large diamond ring. I called her up asking if I could visit while planning the surprise proposal. She said she'd think about it and eventually said she'd prefer if I didn't visit. Heartbroken, I decided to wait a couple of weeks. I went ahead and bought a ticket. I received the ring and I was super excited to have conquered my fear. That day, I received a letter saying she didn't want to share a future together with me. I can't help but feel all the fear was protecting me and that I've exposed a fatal vulnerability that I've never healed from. Not sure if I need to let this die or do I tell her about the ring. Some of my friends say go visit anyways. Others say give her some space and respect her decision. What do I do? The guy in this story clearly was dragging his feet way too long. The girlfriend gave him a very specific ultimatum. Let's have a life together. You got 18 months to figure it out. Go. And he dragged his feet the entire time because he's afraid of commitment. I honestly don't blame the girlfriend for moving out and deciding that she does not want to be with him. He didn't take their relationship seriously. He didn't have any expectations or plans involved with their future. It's honestly too little too late. I mean, why didn't he listen to her when she was his partner? He only listened to her after she left. And no, he should absolutely not try and throw this proposal at her after she's left him. She would probably think that it's just a ploy to remain engaged indefinitely and never get married. After all, that's what his behavior has shown previously. It's great that he's overcome his fear and that he feels like he's moved past this paralyzing fear preventing him from getting married, but it's at the cost of losing the person that he loves. In all honesty, he just needs to stop, take a second, and work on himself and respect her wishes. I mean, what was he expecting? To run up and say, hey, I got your breakup letter and I just wanted to tell you that after 18 months, I'm finally ready to marry you. Let's just get rid of all your feelings and all the things you just said. Here's a ring, let's get married. That would be weird. It literally would not fix anything. It's his own fault for waiting too long, and I don't blame the woman for walking out on him. Am I the jerk for stealing from my job? This actually happened yesterday. I was a server at a popular corporate restaurant that's famous for pancakes. We are known for other things, but pancakes are really what we're known for. Yesterday afternoon, one of our newer servers accidentally rang in a kid's junior cheeseburger while trying to ring in a different kid's meal. As the food was coming up, she caught her mistake and told the cooks, went back to fix her ticket, and tried to make things right. They pushed the kid's meal off to the side and everyone continued on about their day. About an hour later, I still see the kid's meal sitting in what we called the window. I asked my fellow servers and the cooks if it was dead, meaning that it was cold, thrown away, or that we can't serve it. They told me yes, so instead of throwing it away, I put it in a to-go box and put it in the fridge that we have in the server station. My plan was to bring it home to my daughter. We've been struggling lately, and this would be likely the only thing I could feed her for the day. I wrap up for the day, grab my kiddo's burger, and catch the bus home. I greet my daughter, say bye to my sitter, and warm out the junior cheeseburger. I bring it to my daughter, and she's ecstatic, obviously. I leave her to the burger and Barbies and go to the living room to relax when my phone rings. It's my general manager. To make a long story short, she said that she saw on camera where I stole a meal and hid it in the fridge. I explained to her that not only was the food dead, but my daughter and I have been struggling extremely badly lately. She told me that's unfortunate, but nevertheless, it's corporate policy that what I did qualifies as stealing and is automatic termination. I tried to resonate with her, but to no avail, obviously. I get that what I did was wrong, but I really wish they didn't fire me for it. It just puts me in a worse predicament. I thought about fighting it, but to who? I did take food that wasn't mine, but it was going in the trash anyway. I don't get it, but clearly I messed up. Yeah, this is a tricky one because the food was going to be thrown away anyways. I've worked in restaurants before as a busboy as well as a server, and there is so much food that goes to waste in restaurants it's not even funny. I'm talking about multiple trash bags full of good food that absolutely has no reason being thrown away. The kind of food that could easily be donated to homeless people or some kind of shelter. It's really wasteful. So I understand where this person's coming from, where they hid some food in the freezer and decided to take it home with them. If I'm being completely honest, I've done that before in my restaurant job and nobody batted an eye. It makes me a little suspicious that the manager supposedly saw this on a camera, because why on earth would the manager know to look for that? It sounds like to me that somebody stabbed this person in the back and told the manager that they took some food, because what manager just sits on the cameras and watches what their employees are doing instead of being out there and actually helping and leading as a manager? I mean, I'm sure there probably are managers like that who are absolute deadbeats and don't do anything for their company, but it just seems a little suspicious. I'm personally on the side of the person who took the hamburger that was already going into the trash. It was being thrown out, nobody was going to eat it, and it was going into the garbage, so I don't see any conflict with this person taking it home. And it's really terrible that they got fired for taking garbage home, but that's what happens when you work for heartless people, I guess. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video.